by its actions and created an opportunity for us to speak, to manifest ourselves. And we chose to do so. The polarization of this particular society and civilization, further exacerbated as a result of choice by certain individuals, created the conflicts that you have even today in your societies. This was an opportunity for an intense shift in consciousness that was not chosen. You will notice that we speak again today in your society. We have come through for a period of time. And we choose to do this because once again, civilization, society, humankind, is at a point in which the opportunity for choice to expand the consciousness is being created. But what we see is that there is a greater probability of a repetition of previous events. War, harm, judgment, key elements of reduction that will reduce society substantially and will set you back as a society another 200,000 or 300,000 years. Now, you may not think at this point as a society that this is of any value. After all, you're not going to be around yourselves, so you think. But if you've listened carefully to the first 4 sessions of this particular workshop, you'll recognize that you will be returning over and over and over and over again to a society in which you have created the parameters of consciousness. So the choice here, dear friends, is for you as individuals, as a group, as a collective, to decide what would you choose. The symbology of the sun and the snake are very intense and tied together. Today, in your society, your civilization is at a different point in its consciousness. Symbology is different. You will recognize in the mantra that we have given this one to describe our energy that the sun and the snake have been combined. They exist as one. Observe the mantra carefully and you will observe it. And you can argue whether it's a mantra or a yantra, but we assure you, dear friends, that it's a mantra. It is a representation of consciousness. And from that perspective, it is viewed as a mantra. It is also that which would provide a shift in consciousness. And from that perspective, it is viewed as a mantra. So, from a history perspective, recognize this. We have spoken before, many times. Some moments of time different than others. In some instances, we spoke to move consciousness along, to support it, to encourage it, to assist it. At other times, we came and spoke in order to create a shift in consciousness if consciousness were to choose it. Consciousness had to choose. It wasn't a question of us creating and forcing, but we provided the opportunity for this choice. Other times we simply encouraged. To that end, then, recognize that that which existed within that particular civilization and society on the basis of the sun and the serpent are very much present today in your society. Some would use the serpent in your society today to represent the head, the symbology of evil, of harm. We would suggest to you, dear friends, recognize that it is only a perspective that creates evil. If the symbology is used, it is because a perspective is applied to a symbology, to a symbol. Is symbology necessary now in your society? No. Which is why we are encouraging you to move beyond the symbology. Eventually, consciousness will shift beyond the necessity to create symbols, attachments to certain signs in order to move itself forward. And you are in the process of doing so, which is why we're coming through in this fashion at this point. But you must choose, dear friends. Will you choose to remain attached to symbology? Will you choose to create within your own existence a perspective of greater than on the basis of that which you've named us today, on the basis of that which you perceive this one to be and dear Maggie to be? Or will you simply choose to empower yourselves and use that which we offer as a guide, as a map, if you want to, of the possibilities and probabilities of your existence? Will you choose to expand your existence to appreciate yourselves and empower yourselves? That is the crossroads you are at today. It is of no value to society to repeat the attachments previously explored beyond the value of repetition. It is of little value to yourselves to choose to empower that which you perceive outside of yourselves in order to allow yourselves the perspective of lack. We would suggest of the greater benefit to society and to yourselves is for you, dear friends, to choose to empower yourselves, recognizing that you are the chooser. You are the creator. You are, from one perspective, that which has been defined as God. You, dear friends. And if you choose to empower yourselves through these words, through the phrases, through the knowledge shared with you, through this session and others, then, dear friends, we assure you your existence will shift dramatically. You will not be harmed, we assure you, for you would not choose to harm yourselves. But we assure you that unless there is a willingness to choose self-empowerment, then you will simply give power to symbols, perspectives, situations, and circumstances. And in so doing, disempower yourself to such a degree that you will bring harm to yourselves and your society and civilization for thousands and thousands of years.